Hey again. So, we are doing this again, huh? Welcome my fellow Skullgirl Pocket Edition players as we venture deep once again to discover the atrocities that are inside this brick full of monstrous girls. Oh, and I guess a trumpet and a grown man in a furry costume. Last time we covered the most annoying variants, but this time I'm going over a new topic. The top 17 worst / my personal least favorite moves in Skullgirls Mobile. The move pool in the game is massive, and we know some are a must equip through the treacherous journeys, which are the prize fights, rift battles, and the all new parallel realms. We know which moves are all reliable, while the others are the scummiest bottom-feeding trash it is. Oh, and don't think these moves are directed at PvE players. Oh no, these moves will also count for you competitive PvP players too. So these horrendous, disgusting moves aren't only applying to PvE, but PvP too. So the move must clearly be awfully designed or bad to not want both of those players to not use. Oh, also, we do have some set rules in this list, so listen clearly folks. First, I'm banning taunts and bursts, since they all function the same and I don't want number 17 all the way to number 1 to just be taunts. Also, don't say that all taunts are different because they give different buffs and bursts, giving different BD buffs. Shut up, design has begun, cease. I also decided to ban BB3s, but all other blockbuster moves and special moves are fair game. Second, one move for each character, so I can talk about each character once. Every character needs a spotlight chance to show who has the worst of the worst in their arsenal. Finally, this list is a little biased and preference based. Not only am I going after moves that I hate, but they must suck too. So even though I hate this pizza with all my heart, it won't be included because this move doesn't suck. With that being said, me as a green gremlin who's 75% sure of what he is talking about is ready to revisit these moves that's been put up for foster care. Also, if you find other moves to be worse than the ones I talk about, feel free to comment. Just, keep it civil. But other than that, let's get this dumpster train started.
Who will our star be tonight?
So, we are starting with a character that doesn't have that many bad moves, which is surprising to say because it's my boy Beowulf. I ain't going to sugarcoat it, but Beowulf has moves that can be used in many great situations. While some are highly dependent only on PvP and PvE, so let's go down the list, shall we? Hurtling Hurdle is honestly Beowulf's most reliable move on PvP, and helps with combo extension. Airwolf, Gigantic Arm, Jetus Tread Pack, I'm not sure if I said that correctly, and Lupine Pummel all being solid options to get Beowulf out of any bad situations in PvP, and a good source of damage in PvE. While Gigan Arm Sweep is doo-doo crumbs in PvP, it's a really good damage dealer in PvE, and again, Wolf Shoe being Garbo in PvP, a really good defensive tool for Beowulf, defending a prize fight or a rift node. Which leaves us with the Blitz. Don't get me wrong, Wolf Blitzer isn't the worst move in the game and can actually provide a good source of extensions in some ways and damage, but it isn't as outstanding as all of Beowulf's other moves. While in the PvE aspect, it provides a good way to inflict armor break with a 25% chance, and with Hype Beowulf becoming a missile that launches himself 4 times, almost becoming a guaranteed at this point, I feel like other moves just outshine this one. Then the PvP aspect, where Bale struggles when he gets walled off and needs those big beefy blockbusters to get around again. Wolf Blitz doesn't really help with that, and is also unsafe if the opponent blocks it completely. I mean, all the power to you if you equip and use on your Bayo, but with this brute having completely better moves, sadly this one is a rare sight to behold when you see it being equipped. Now imagine if Wolf Blitz could be controlled in 8 directions in this game, just like Second Encore, making the Muscle Man stage his whole oyster. What a sight would that be?
Who will our star be tonight?
Ah, zoners. I remember facing my first zoner character. Sweet, sweet zoners. I always hated them, especially the ones who run away like Jerry the Mouse. Those guys actually think they do be Jerry for real. Always running and throwing out moves and feel like they won evil after they hit their 3rd projectile, which starts their combo that they do not deserve. Oh, sorry, I was getting distracted, but hey, this leads to our next segment anyways, our second B character, Black Dahlia. So just like my main man Bayo, Black Dahlia lacks a pretty bad move, but ultimately I decided to go with the one where she literally teleports her out of a close interaction, which is why I was talking about zoner characters hightailing themselves out of there. The good old T-slip. Again, this move isn't bad, but does no damage and Black Dahlia runs away like a little put.
Watch your profanity.
I gotta watch my profanity. So, funny story, I lost to this move on the Rift node because I stacked all these debuffs to a pre-nerfed Unholy Host, and she used T-Slip because I forgot this move has a 50% chance of getting rid of all debuffs, and because of that, I lost to time. Yeah, it happened once, and that one time still irks me to this day. Besides that, T-Slip can be annoying when you are running a full debuff double kit on PvE, and while T-Slip helps her reload all of her shells as well, so she can start unleashing her pipe bombs onto you. With me praising T-Slip here and there, why is it her worst move? Well, let's just say the Zoner Rat also has a Rat Trap which works better as an escape than the Slip, and other moves feel better on her kit. Yeah, this segment was just me complaining about zoners for no reason. Let's just get back into it and move on to the next character.
Who will our star be tonight?
So, I'm not sure if this is a hot take or not, but Val. Yeah, the so-called lovely holiday nurse ninja herself, Valentine. I don't think she's a well-designed character in this game. In Skullgirls Mobile, I think Skullgirls 2nd Encore did a better job, but when you give a character 3 of the same type of moves twice, which is what she's defined for, especially in competitive play, then yeah, she's not really a well-designed character. Of course, we do need to go over the special 3 juices that she has in her arsenal. The one that only stings a little are the Vile types. Now, I know all of Valentine's Vile types can reset a ground combo, but when Counter Venom does it better and does more damage, and the fact that the Vile types need that preparation time, then you start to remember how these little bee stings don't work really well. But the question is, which Vile type is among the worst? Feels like a multiple choice test here all of a sudden. A, B, or C? Who am I kidding? It's A. Vile type A has a very special function of getting rid of blockbuster meter by 50% on hit, even when the opponent's trigger happy on block. It sounds good at first, but Vile type B getting rid of all the opponent's buffs, and Vile C having the enemy to be rendered useless from stuns, you begin to realize the grape soda Vile really doesn't do all that much for you, helping you in a fight except to reset your ground combo. Now, a move that can be up for contention is Dead Cross, but with the bleed and the fact that you don't have to prep any blade mix for a few 2 seconds, I see as a better choice. Oh, and again, why do you need to use Vile types in PvP mode when the triple brain dead counter venom spam works either way? Kind of wish we get to see what would happen if she had counter from Encore.
Who will our star be tonight?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is my pleasure and honor to fascinate you with a move. The move that looks cool and doesn't seem that bad, but it's lackluster compared to many others. I bring you the almighty and great Foot Dog! Wait, wrong game, and there's nothing wrong with that move. I mean, re-entry! With all the annoying and safe moves Annie has, it was a pretty hard choice to choose which of Annie's cheap moves were clearly the worst. Pillar of Creation and North Knuckle are valid options as well, but I found re-entry to just be a move that looks cool on combos, but not as applicable during fights. Like North Knuckle, no Annie will ever try to use this in PvP since it can be unsafe to pull out if the opponent isn't blocking earlier. The Star Power move does allow a bounce to make her continue a combo longer, but Destruction Pillar has a better passive ability and damage overall, and it does the same thing. So why isn't North Knuckle her worst? Maybe it's a bit of bias because of how cool the move looks to me, but also helps Annie by giving her unflinching for 5 seconds? But in the PvE aspect, re-entry only gives you enrage for 5 seconds too, but the final third hit has to be a crit. Like, excuse me? Maybe useful on a variant like Starshine, but probably not on other Annies. I think in this instance, North Knuckle could also be one of Annie's worst moves, but I feel like North Knuckle's wall bounce on Star Power and feeling like it does more damage is more helpful than the kicks Annie throws out. You can always feel free to disagree with me on this one, but let's continue on.
Who will our star be tonight?
So, continuing the trope of cool moves being kitty litter, Misfortune's best looking blockbuster move, Feral Edge. Yeah, that's one of them. Okay, so maybe this move might not be Misfortune's worst move in a lot of people's eyes, but for me, this move is trash! I never see anyone fully utilize this move in PvP, and the ones who try would usually miss and make complete buffoons of themselves. I mean 7.5 out of 10 for stylish points, but Misfortune players are better off using the normal looking scratching move that can do almost everything for them. While on the PvE side, Misfortune computers are well known to be somewhat obnoxious with how they control that stupid head. Once they roll it like a bowling ball, never have I got once hit by this move from that computer, and not only that, this move is unsafe when blocked. Now I know what you common people would say, actually Feral Edge can be used like this and can be comboed into your head doing the splits and counting the alphabet backwards. That's cool and all, bro, but I bet it's impractical. Again, a lot of people who play Misfortune in PvP just need that cockroach of a head to do 0 to deaths easily, while the PvE people just abuse the head over there as well. I'm pretty sure 80% of us don't even test how good Feral Edge is, and wonder why Misfortune is only using her launcher when she should be cutting down her foes like Leonardo. Whatcha? Sometimes even the moves that a lot of people don't know how to use or is impractical can be the worst out of them all.
Who will our star be tonight?
You know, the more fighting games I play, whether that be on the go, ones that are platform based, and the traditional, I noticed how stupid some spinning moves can be. From what I've seen, they can range from being not that very good to being a huge pain in your behind. Well, this video is talking about the worst moves, so I guess the range is going to be not that very good. So round and round we go. Wherever it stops, well, we would just stop using it. So can you please tell me, Carousel Kick, why we never see anyone use you as a move? So Carousel Kick, yeah, a move that crits more when used. Hooray, I guess. Other than that, when a move is mediocre, it can just come up plain bad. Now Umbrella does have other moves that were in contention as well. Hunger Rush just simply is not working as a move sometimes, and Slurp and Slide also being a very lackluster move. I find the free out shield blockbuster spam move and the move that can break armor to be more useful than this kick. Again, more hits doesn't always mean good, and this applies to this little kid with a giant umbrella mimicking a carnival ride. Just equip the moves that every Umbrella players use instead. Those moves are more annoying and more GG win buttons than this kiddie ride.
Who will our star be tonight?
You know, it's kind of sad that this game doesn't have any jump mechanics. It might be hard to program on our cellular bricks, but still. We only have pseudo jumps, which are some moves, special abilities, and launchers. We can really not approach in the air. Oh, I guess except for Pinwheel, I guess, but because jumps don't exist, that makes some moves that were programmed to stop jump approaches to not translate as well in this game. That goes for poor old George. While George is trying to imitate... No, I'm better than this. George at the air show is a move that does eventually hit you from far away, but if you run up to Peacock, then you literally realize how exploitable this move truly is. I mean, at least it combos, right? While Boxcar and George's Day Out can also combo, these moves can do so much more in PvP and PvE, also because you can't jump. When there's barely any no counter against George's Day Out, except for blockbusters, you realize how you can take a nice stroll towards the kid chucking bombs at you when she uses air show. I guess the move having armor break is a nice bonus, but why do I need that when Argus Agony sends 40 lasers to also break armor too? Admit it, Peacock, this move is pretty bad.
Who will our star be tonight?
So, you know how I dogged on George at the air show a few seconds ago? Want to hear me dog on it again? Lobs of Love, aka basically George at the air show, without the George. So it is infinitely 10 times worse than George at the air show. Okay, but for real, Lobs of Love is just another move that was designed for an anti-air, and again, we can't jump, so this move, you know, stings. But hey, it's unblockable when you hit someone far away from it, and it drains 50% blockbuster meter in PvE. And to that I say, meh. I feel like Fuku is more threatening up close. Anywho, so making a moveset where she just lobs tons of green ectoplasmic balls like she's Danny Phantom or something? Yeah, that just doesn't work. This move frankly just doesn't work on PvP and PvE, even though a lot of people seem to get reset by it for no reason. Like, what the heck, man? I'm pretty sure it doesn't do as much as George at the air show anyways. So that's why Lobs of Love is at the number 10 spot.
Who will our star be tonight?
So we are basically coming up to the halfway point. The more moves I talk about, the more it's just awful to use in this game. Speaking of awful, Painwheel, come up here girl, I won't bite. Just like her tier in competitive Skullgirls Mobile. Her move pool is pretty mediocre to bad, while some are pretty good. It's just a shame, but I feel like a lot of people have some grudges about this move, because it's literally in the move's name. Violet Grudge is a move that has always been awkward to use in second encore for me when I was playing double, and it's still awkward here. While the move does bless us with one of the best debuffs in the game, Heavy Bleed. It sadly only lasts up to a pitiful 5 seconds, and the move is just not safe to use. Literally the only time I can think of connecting this move is just by launching my opponents in the air, and then using it, or do a trickster move. Maybe some of these moves are a skill issue for me when some people might know how to use it better than me, but even when the majority of the people don't use it, then I would assume this move isn't that good. I guess the only other use it has is that it may trick people on whiff, but like, come on, doesn't even do that much damage, unsafe on block, and awkward to combo with. The only upside is the bleed. Then I hereby declare this move as a garbage chainsaw move out of like the 5 other chainsaw moves Painwheel has.
Who will our star be tonight?
For our next segment, I would like you to guess what move I'm trying to describe by using this good old SpongeBob clip. Well, I'm talking about this move. So, Catastrophe Cannon Alpha, a mouthful to say, looks pretty strong. I mean, with those 2 giant hulking death mega busters, I'm pretty sure you can blast anyone from Timbuktu and disintegrate them into itty bitty no. So CCA, that's what I'm calling Catastrophe Cannon Alpha, does have the syndrome of looking cool, and even cooler when Robo Fortune literally pulls out her own heart. But other than that, I would highly avoid using the certain blaster. But what about Robo Fortune's special moves? They seem unimpressive. Well, a wise man told me sometimes you just need a little less gun. Wait, is that right? Anywho, Robo Fortune's specials are quick, do a quick good amount of damage, and play really good roles on a lot of Robo's kits, like Xbot. While CCA does the opposite. It may seem pretty good on variants stalling who wants to stall like Overclocked, but this move is pretty pathetic, barely combos, tricks only new players, and worst of all, it's laggy. Most of the time, the only thing that you can actually combo it into is a D2. But who in their right mind would go for a combo to use CCA when she has a freaking Magna hands that do way more? It's completely worthless, especially in Rifts when a lot of people use high waters in armor rating, and in PvP, oh man. For a weapon that seems like it shoots 2 Kamehameha waves, anyone can approach you after they block, and make sure you don't try that stunt again. Oh, and the debuff, it serves on a platter, is equivalent to escargot. Slimy and disgusting. Wither, not a debuff you really want to inflict all too much, unless you really can't stand getting BB3'd by the computer player. CCA is a move that is just straight up not worth your move slot, and is better off to do some awkward stalls. What a waste for 2 gigantic, impactful looking lasers. Great going there, Brain Drain. Really, nice job, dude. Good going.
Who will our star be tonight?
Donc, la pierre coupe de Ephilia est. Oh, sorry. I think I got B or C in French 1, so I'm not even sure if I'm saying this right. Ignore that. Anywho, yeah, Philia. So, you know, I would have gone Widow's Peak if it wasn't for the buff, I think, a year ago. And relationship actually being somewhat useful in PvP, I had to go with this move that doesn't even feel like it hits all the hits. Frickin' French Twist! So this move makes me want to throw up to try to make it viable. I feel like we are moving on to like the territory, some of the real moves that straight up can't be used. And French Twist hits all of the marks of being unusable in both PvP and PvE. Being unsafe? Check. Barely having any combo potential, only cancelable blockbusters? Check. Garbage damage output? All marks checked. The only upside is that you have a 25% chance of bleeding the opponent for, let's see here, only 3 seconds if you hit them with this move, which is not really an upside when you realize the move can only hit max up to 5 times. And if you try to hit them when they are falling down, you only hit them with an awkward 2 or 3 times. If Skullgirls Mobile was trying to achieve a move that tickles the opponent, then French Twist fits that criteria because this move is straight up garbage. It's so garbage that even Fuku has it in the form of her down swipe attack, and nobody in their right frontal brain lobe mind would ever try to use that move. The only French I'll be saying is au revoir when I'm selling this move for 5,000 canopy coins.
Who will our star be tonight?
So I was kind of giving some slack to Philly and Samson for having a move that just straight up doesn't work at all. So I decided that I should be equal to the other Parasite duo. Oh, not you Skeleton and Desert Lady, you two are for later. I meant the other two. Our favorite pair, Squigs and Levi. Honestly, all their moves are pretty handy and can dish out some serious hurt on anyone. But of course, not every move was made equally. Center Stage is not the move I'm going to throw shade at. Even though the move is niche, I feel like it can be really obnoxious in PvP. If it was in PvP, anywho, because this move isn't in competitive, I just decided to not include it. Which leaves us with dust to dust, ashes to ashes. Just like Philia, this move is in the same boat where it continues to suck at comboing, suck at damage, unsafe, and sucks in general. But this time, inflicts wither. But wait, there's more. It's unsafe at the start too. So unsafe at the start of the move and at the end of the move. 2 for the price of 1. Oh, joy. Leviathan must be pulling a prank with this move because this move straight up feels like a joke in Skullgirls Mobile. Because this isn't a funny joke. And call me Bear Grylls because I'm about to devour a half-dead snake. Ashes to Ashes feels like it should be cancelable into other blockbusters. For some reason, it just does not work, and that's the reason why this move is really pathetic, making this move easy to extinguish in any mode you are playing.
Who will our star be tonight?
So, top 5 time. Now follow me, dear viewers, as we look at the 5 worst of the worst, scummiest of the slums, moves that have never seen the light of day on any moveset, only used by people who are probably going insane in an asylum, or the poor souls who picked it up and don't even know what the move does. Those poor school toddlers. May Aeon save their souls. From this point on, I know these moves are guaranteed awful, and if anyone has a say-so, you're a poopy head, and you have a second encore mindset. Besides that, our favorite muscle woman, Clown Cerebella, has one move where it straight up just doesn't work. I'd say she should stick to her guns rather than her behind, because Butt Slam straight up turns Cerebella into a whole circus. Not only is this move impossible to combo, it's obviously unsafe on block, and the passive move of critting doesn't work. This move can do some hefty moderate damage, but it's only and if you get hit with this move. This move's startup is so easily telegraphed that if you get hit, you have nightmares of how you were unable to dodge it. It also isn't fair too, because Double here, the clone of everyone, gets access to a way better butt slam that can actually combo, unlike Cerebella's. The only celebration you'll have is when you hit this move and realize that you did some damage when you could have easily done a better one off of your few initial hits. Waste of a moveset for Cerebella and waste of time to use.
Who will our star be tonight?
When you play a character like Eliza, you realize that Sekhmet does almost all of the hefty lifting, whether that be from doing Sekhmet combos on people in competitive play, or doing the Sekhmet stunlock over and over again in PvE. You begin to realize all of Eliza's moves that don't involve Sekhmet too much kind of blows over. Especially Horse and Albus, being her 2 henchmen, can kind of have some lackluster options on her move pools. But we ain't dissing those two are pretty cool in my book. It's where we discuss how Eliza fights, and her Egyptian motifs are what makes her moves pretty interesting to look at. So how could they botch a moveset for a Sphinx? So middle of the Sphinx, a move where Eliza sneezes at the opponent's sketchers. Great! So besides having the same old bad move syndromes, really low damage, bad passive ability, barely any comboing potential, etc, 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 this move in a nutshell is not good. Like, very not good. At least Cerebella's butt slam is somewhat rewarding when she uses it, but this move's damage is so pitiful I think it might be in the negatives. This move should be called bottom of the Sphinx because it's definitely in the bottom tier of moves in this game. If you're purposely trying to lose in competitive PvP or joke around, then here, go nuts. But don't get frustrated at me when you find there's nothing remotely fun when you try to optimize this move. Sphinx, more like Jinx, doomed to lose.
Who will our star be tonight?
It truly is really sad to see Big Band having an awful special move pool and only having one that's always a must-have. Wish Noise Cancel especially was a better parry move in PvP, and seeing Giant Step from what it was in Skullgirls Second Encore, sad sax moments right there. But a move that's even sadder than those two is Sweet Clarinet. Sweet Clarinet? Huh. Must be as sweet as lemons, because when life gives you lemons... Actually, you can't even make lemonade with a move like this. Remember how awkward it is to use moves like French Twist, Feral Edge, Ashes to Ashes? Well, Sweet Clarinet loves to be in that awkward party too, because it feels uncomfortable to use. Oh, and as an added insult to injury bonus, in PvE this has no special passive moves. No bleed, no extra critical hits, not even draining any blockbuster. This move must be talking about Squidward's Clarinet, because I've seen other Big Band moves that can achieve more hefty damage, and for Big Luck carrying a move where his feet turn into mini helicopters, it's just disappointing to use as, even when it combos into symbols and the Deja vu, I just been in this place before. For small damage like that, that's not very satisfying. Might not be the worst, but definitely my least favorite out of Big Band's base boosted special move remixes. For someone being the biggest and largest band here and having a dinky move like that, it's almost as bad as seeing your favorite anime having a really bad ending, or it becoming really bad. For all you Big Band players, a must not have on your moveset, even for a stupidly cheap cost, and even if it does combo, it's only by like a little bit, so it's not even worth it. There's other things to equip too, so not worth.
Who will our star be tonight?
So before I talk about the next worst move, let's talk about Parasol's main ability, the use of her tears. Almost every Parasol variant has a gimmick with tears, and oh yeah, the use of tears in PvP, it's so stupid that detonating tears in PvP just isn't a main strategy for Parasol. And some tears just cannot be detonated for some variants of PvE. Parasol also can form tears off of her main auto combo, a D2, a grab, and her down slide attack. So, with that being said, why would I ever want to use the palm toss as a move? This move is garbage! With all the ways Parasol can plant her atoms all over the field, why is there a single move where she just plants one? And if you're saying, oh, but she can use it to position her tears and it doesn't hurt to plant one tear just for my prime to get that one in range, or grown up Morton Salt Woman to cry one singular tear, my guy, I have 4 moves and a palm shower that plants a whole area, especially when playing with a character like Primed. Don't get me wrong on how utterly useless it is on PvP. Now a lot of people might be saying, well, what about Egret Call? Egret Call sucks. It sucks, but at least I have more fun using it than throwing out a single tier. And remember, a move being fun is a factor on this list, as it has to be bad and my least favorite. Even if Egret Call is as useless as a wet towel drying you off, at least I can do this. Then I'm basically doing more damage, even if it's only for the feather characters. I'd rather maximize my damage or even use an Egret dive to imitate a Get Down Mr. President for a burst bait in competitive PvP. Parasol even has a move called the Palm Shot that helps her combo do damage and set up one tier near the opponent. So explain to me why I would ever want to use the slimy turd ball move. Why toss when I can shower? And why toss when I have a gun? But there is a final spot. Oh boy, the final move in the game. The worst move. The one I deem the worst out of all. The worst of the worsts. So, it begins.
Who will our star be tonight?
A move in a fighting game, by definition, has to be useful in some way or another to maximize the character's full potential. Some can be niche, some can be awful, but as long as it can be usable, that's alright. So, what move do I think is the worst out of all the moves in this brick of a game? Well, the move probably should have no passive ability, It's not practical in a combo. It does no damage or the worst amount, and it shouldn't be that safe. And if it does have a use, it must be super niche and not worth it. It also has to be horrible in both the PvE mode and the PvP mode. So, what move would that be? Well, this move is the character's own original move, and not it ditto copying any of the other characters, which makes it even more sad. The move is Flesh Step. This move is the worst, atrocious dumpster fire of a move I ever set my eyes on. If you want to waste a slot, there you go. Flesh Step, doubles Flesh Step in second encore is so useful. So why does it have to be so bad here? At least Parasol does set a tier just for that one enrage. What does double get? A fast pass in front of the line when you can literally swipe once? It even looks like it should go past projectiles, but it doesn't even do that job right. It should feel like double should get advantage frames, but she doesn't. And everyone can intercept it on a tap of a button. The only use this thing has is after the BB3, and she can combo right after that. But that's super niche for just one move, and it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. There's a reason no right-minded person will equip a Flesh Step for double when every other option of cake is right in front of her. Also, she goes Mega Morphin Power Ranger and turns into Fat Stanley's cousin, Flat Finley, when she does in front of someone. It can make the computer confused or prevent a grab, but who in the absolute Venus cares? It feels like it would be insanely useful in PvP if double can go past Peacock's bombs, or Misfortune's head easier, or Black Dahlia's bombs with Flesh Step. But it doesn't work! Why doesn't this move work? But still, with all these dog water ugly moves, I guess it's good to have some, because like every other fighting game, a character cannot be perfect and have all of their moves be perfect. Maybe we might get to see these moves be buffed someday on mobile. I mean, the chance of that is as rare as an ice cream truck falling on top of me. And living! But you know, don't buff any of those 3 new characters, you know, the BD, the Yellow Child, and Gravely Sync Shot, the character. So with that being said, what do you think is your worst least favorite moves in Skullgirls Mobile? I know there are some like Osiris, Spiral, whatever that move is, but I'm really interested in what moves you think are truly bad. If you enjoy these top 10-ish list, maybe I'll make top 17 favorite moves in Skullgirls Mobile, or maybe top 18 when Marie comes out. Also, I can't wait for Marie. I'm definitely adding her to my PvP competitive squad. Oh, and maybe in this video I said some stuff like where you'll go like, what? This move is viable and good in PvE, offense, defense, or competitive PvP. In case, I would like to hear why, and what you have to say. If you enjoy my Skullgirls Mobile content, and the stuff I do in this channel, please, I consider subscribe and like, because support like this really helps me in the long run, and makes me want to continue. I might also plan for other games besides Skullgirls Mobile too, maybe, if you are interested in those games, but that's for later. Anywho, all of you who grew my channel are amazing peeps, and make sure not to sacrifice your fire stupidly. So, bye bye.